Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Yager, and today I'm with Steve Cole from Worldpay, from FIS. And we would like to spend a bit of time understanding about his excellent career path and what he has achieved. So let me start asking Steve, right? Steve, hi, how are you today?
Hi, Rachel. Good, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, thank you. What an honor to have you joining us and for SymposiumX podcast series on payments. And you're truly an expert, recognized in Worldpay from FIS, and you have done so much work in the payments industry. Please first let us let the audience know about you. Can you share a bit about yourself with us?
Sure. And thank you, Rachel, for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. Um, you know, payments is kind of an interesting business. It's not one that I know of where, people grow up and say, hey, I want to be in payments when I grow up. I think a lot of us kind of get into it accidentally, and that's kind of how I got into it. I was actually doing some consulting and some project management, and I picked up a very small project. It was literally a couple hours a month to do some reporting for one of the predecessor organizations to FIS Worldpay. And a couple hours a month turned into a couple days a week, and that turned into a full-time career. And 16 years later, here I am. And it's been quite the journey. I've done a lot of different things within the organization, project management and product management mostly. I've had the opportunity to work with, our internal systems and our IT folks. I've had an opportunity to work with our customers directly and our relationship management teams. So I've really had the opportunity to see, a lot of the business from a lot of different perspectives. And the stuff that's going on now is some of the most exciting stuff that, I've seen in my time in the industry. A lot of people may think of payments as kind of this utilitarian type function, moving, transaction data from point A to point B, moving money from account one to account two. But there's an awful lot of other stuff going on. I like to say we're a technology company that happens to do payments.
Yes, and we'll pay with the merger and acquisition from FIS is still the historical biggest merger and acquisition on record, right? About
Yep,
35 billion US dollar, right? And so
correct.
that actually is in the trend about the payment industry. So now, someone wants to come into this industry, and people who are working in the World Wide Web Consortium, or people who are working in the industry and looking to work on payments issues, right, and career, what would you give an
Mhm.
advice to someone seeking a career path of such?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think a thing I would tell them is don't underestimate payments and the opportunities that payments provides. As I mentioned before, I think a lot of people, think of payments as being this kind of utility function to move transactions. I don't think a lot of people tend to think about, when they take their card into a store and they tap it or dip it or swipe it, what really happens with that data once they, do that action, right? Where the journey of that payment data goes and at the speed that it goes is quite remarkable if you think about it. And there's just so much that happens, not just from the processing of the transaction itself, but all of the things around it, right? We process literally billions of transactions, which generates, enormous amounts of data. And that's data that can be used to better understand customers and better understand patterns and behaviors. So there's a lot of opportunity from, a data analytics, data science perspective. But, we're also talking about payments data, which is, valuable, right? So the bad guys want to get that data. So there's a lot of opportunities around security and cybersecurity and securing the transactions and the payment data, not only within our own four walls, but also our customers, our merchants, and our financial institutions, helping them ensure that their data is secure, right? So there's a lot of opportunity in that cybersecurity area. And then even think marketing, right? You might not think of a payments company, there's not a lot of people outside of the payments industry that's heard of FIS or Worldpay or Vantiv before that, right? But we, process for some of the largest merchants and financial institutions, in the country and in the world. And there's a lot of marketing activity that's required from that. Project management, we're always coming out with, new capabilities and new functionality that requires development, not just, IT development, but then it's got to be commercialized, and it's got to be, operationalized. And that requires a lot of project management skills. So there's opportunities there. Within my own part of the business, product, right? Again, it's not just about pushing transactions from point A to point B, but developing a lot of value-added services that can not only deliver value to our customers, but allow our merchants and FIs, financial institutions, to deliver better value to their customers. So there's just a lot more to payments, I think, than most people recognize, right? It's just not this utility. It's a very vibrant and evolving and exciting industry to be in.
Yeah, I think that especially we are now talking during the lockdown period, your hometown and my hometown, New York City, are both locked down at this moment. I think that payment is like the back end worker, the essential worker, when we talk about the front end worker. And then payments is really like, without all this payments technologies, I can't really survive. I mean, I'm doing a lot of groceries, from simple survival to sophisticated purchase, right? Yeah. Everything, you are the back-end system that sustain the way we live. And thank you so much, right, Steve? And we are truly honored that you're going to speak later on the keynote session. So stay tuned, everybody. We are going to ask Steve in another session about his thoughts about the future. Thank you, Steve. See you in a bit.
Thank you.